We are living in this absolutely incredible age of generative AI, right? These models can write code, they can create stunning art, and whip up text that feels like it was written by a person. But, and it's a big but, there's a catch. So much of that power, all that potential, it hinges on one single thing: the prompt. The quality of what you get out is like 100% tied to the quality of what you put in.
You know the feeling, right? You've probably been there. You ask this super powerful AI to do something amazing, and what you get back is just, meh. It's underwhelming. It's generic, kind of bland. Maybe it's even completely off the mark. It's a super common frustration, but the good news? It's totally solvable.
So what's really going wrong here? Well, let's look at this example. If you give a really simple request, something like rich man's story from a small town, his struggles and achievements, the AI gives you exactly what you'd expect: a totally cookie-cutter story with zero soul. This is a classic case of what we call naive prompting.
Naive prompting is basically just asking a question in the simplest way you can think of. It's our natural default, you know? But it's what leads to those generic, uninspired, or just plain useless results. The bottom line is, we're just not giving the model enough to work with.
Okay, so how do we move past that? Well, the solution is a skill that's becoming more and more crucial every single day: prompt engineering. And hey, don't let that word engineering scare you. It's not just some technical thing, it's really the art of having a much better conversation with AI.
At its core, prompt engineering is all about carefully designing your instructions to get the best possible result from an AI. It's kind of like being part clear communicator, part creative thinker, and part strategist, all rolled into one. It's about framing your question with just the right context and the right details.
I absolutely love this way of thinking about it. You're not just barking commands at a machine, you're collaborating with a super creative partner. You provide the clear structure, you set up the guardrails, but you also leave a little bit of breathing room for the AI to surprise you with something awesome.
Okay, so let's get into the good stuff. How can you start doing this, like right now? It all comes down to a foundation of 4 key principles. Now, for many of you, this might be a bit of a refresher, but trust me, even the pros come back to this playbook. Mastering the fundamentals is what makes all the advanced stuff even possible.
First up, clarity. Look, a prompt that's loaded with jargon and confusing language is just a recipe for disaster, because the model can't read your mind. Instead of all that complex phrasing, a simple, direct, and totally unambiguous request gets right to the point. The main takeaway here? Use language that leaves zero room for misinterpretation. Second, and this one is a huge one, context. A really broad prompt like "write about the Revolutionary War" basically leaves the AI guessing where to even begin. But the moment you provide that crucial background, that focus on key incidents, you're giving the model a map. That context is what turns a generic summary into a truly relevant and detailed response.
Third is precision. A vague request like, talk about supply and demand, that could go in 1,000 different directions. The secret to reining it in is providing a specific, illustrative example. Asking the model to use the smartphone market as its case study immediately focuses its attention and gives you that applied knowledge you were actually looking for. And finally, one of my absolute favorite and most powerful techniques: role play. Just asking for a log entry gets you a pretty dry, scientific description. But the second you tell the AI to pretend it's an astronaut, to take on a character and express specific feelings, that's when you get a story. Assigning a persona unlocks completely new styles and perspectives. It's a total game changer.
So, you've got the playbook, right? Clarity, context, precision, and role play. That's your foundation. Now, what's really cool is how we can build on these basics with some of the techniques and tools that separate the casual users from the true prompt engineers.
One super powerful advanced technique is called chain of thought prompting. For a really complex problem, just adding this simple phrase, "think step by step," can make a world of difference. It actually forces the model to break down its reasoning, to show its work, which almost always leads to a more logical and accurate final answer.
Another great technique is few-shot prompting. That's where you give the model a few examples of what you're looking for. And here's a wild pro tip from the experts. The examples you give don't even have to be factually correct. They just need to show the format you want the AI to follow. It's an amazing shortcut for getting really structured output.
And you know what the best part is? You don't have to cook these up from scratch every single time. A whole toolkit has popped up to help out. You've got these experimental spaces like the OpenAI Playground to test out ideas. You've got optimizers like Prompt Perfect that can turn a good prompt into a great one. And you even have marketplaces like Promptbase where you can find and even sell prompts for almost any task you can imagine.
So, here's the crucial point, the thing to really take away from all this. As these powerful models become a bigger and bigger part of our lives, our ability to talk to them, to communicate effectively, it becomes a superpower. The quality of the answers we get will always depend on the quality of the questions we learn to ask. Honestly, this is just the beginning. The art of the ask is a skill you can practice, you can get better at, you can totally perfect. So, with all these new tools and techniques in your pocket, the only real question left is, what are you going to ask next?